All right, let's say you want to make a change to a page. To do that, you're going to go to Pages and click on All Pages. Now, you're going to see the word Breakdance beside all the pages in this list. This is a list of the pages on your website. You're going to see the word Breakdance beside all of them. It's a silly word, it's a silly name, but the tool that it represents is a really important tool on your site. It is responsible for all the design across your whole website. So anytime we want to change a page, if Breakdance is an option, that's probably the thing you want to use is Breakdance. So let's say we want to make a change to the discipleship page. I'm going to click here, Edit in Breakdance. Now, let me, instead of clicking that right now, let me actually just click Edit. If I do that, it's going to take me to a page where I'm again invited to edit in Breakdance. Point is, you want to edit in Breakdance. All right, let's click that. It's going to load up the Breakdance editor. Let's give it just a second here. All right, so we're now in the Breakdance editor. You can tell because we have this little toolbar at the top. Let's look at how to make some changes here. First, you'll notice if I hover over anything, it gets surrounded by some blue lines. You see those blue lines there? You can even zoom in here a little bit. Hopefully it shows up for you. Zooming in, there's this blue line that surrounds it. Anything I can cover or anything I can hover over and surrounded blue lines, I can click on to make changes. So let's do that. Let's click this and say we wanted to make a change to this headline. When I click that, a panel appears on the left. That panel has 3 sub-panels. There's a content panel, a design panel, and an advanced panel. All we're going to cover right now is the content panel. We may touch on the design panel at some other point, but right now let's just focus on the content. So the content panel is going to have different fields based on what you're editing, obviously. So in this case, it's text and the heading tag. So what if we wanted to completely change this to something else? We could just change it right here and you see it updates in line over there. You can use Command or Control Z, whether you're on a Mac or a PC, to undo those changes. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's how we would change simple text. Let's click on another option here. Same thing, it's a different kind of element. It's just a text element instead of a headline element, but the same thing. We can just make changes right in here. What about an image? Well, images come in a couple different varieties, and interestingly on this page, we don't have any standard images. Maybe we can go to another page to look at an example of that, a standard image. But we do have these background images. So I'm gonna click on this. You see when I hover over it, it says div up there at the top. I can click on that, and over here you can see there's this background. You'll even notice there's a little dot beside background. That means a change has been made inside of this tab or accordion. So if I click on that, there's that image, right? So if I want to make that image change, I can click on image here. And then in my media library, I can choose whatever photo I want to be there instead. So let's say I want it to be this one. I'm going to click that photo, and then I'm going to click choose. And it's replaced. I'm going to Command or Control Z to undo that change. Let's go into it again. I'm going to show you how to add a new image. If you didn't already have an image that you wanted to use in your library, you could drag and drop it from your desktop and it would be uploaded immediately. You could also click Upload Files and select something from your local computer. All right. So again, you're going to choose the image by clicking on it and then hit Choose. All right, I'm going to click out of this panel because we don't actually want to make a change to it. Anything else is going to work the same. See, if I want to change this icon, click the icon. Over here is where the icon selector is. And from there, I can choose from a bunch of different icons or upload a new one if I wanted to. All right, that's how to make changes to your Breakdance content. If I wanted to add new elements to this page, there are a couple ways we can do that. So I can click Add up here at the top left, and I could drag in something. So let's say we wanted a button underneath this. I could click the button and drag it in right here. Now obviously, this isn't working great. We need to make some changes to it. It's all squished up against this. So a couple things we can do. I could then click on this little design panel here, or design tab, and go to space, and we'll add like 100 pixels probably, maybe 70, not 170. That looks better. We also have too much space underneath this. We'd want to make some changes to the spacing underneath that. Maybe make it 0. So you're going to want to fiddle if you're getting into this kind of work. But we have our button here. It looks like it's about where we want it to be. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go back to content, and then let's change the text. I don't know. Contact us. Let's keep it simple. Now the button is changed, and we could put whatever link we want down here. You'd obviously want to grab the actual link URL, so you could put it in here and it'll work. All right, so that's how to add a new element. Again, we're doing a primer here. Let me actually undo so I can get all my spacing back the way it was. We're just doing an overview here, not a deep dive, but if you want to add elements to the page, that's where you go. Something more powerful than that though, probably one of the most powerful things if you're wanting to build out a new page quickly, is to go to Add, Library. And you're going to see you're in this design set, and it says Design Set, this website. And what you have on the left side is all of your pages that are built using Breakdance on your website. So let's say that on this discipleship page, we wanted to have a section that looked like, let's see here. Let's go to Discovery Camp. They're basically the same layout. Let's go to Home. Here we go. All right, let's say we wanted a section that looks like this. This is a cool section. I'm going to click Add to Page, and right there we have it. Now we can just edit this content. It is a global block. That's for another time, but we could make changes to this content on this page, keeping the style and the overall look, but making updates as needed. We'd also want to remove some spacing. It's obviously got too much space up here. We may want to drag it somewhere else on the page, like maybe it needs to go to the top. I don't know. But big idea, using design sets inside your library can allow you to keep the design consistent and build out new pages more quickly. Now, when you've made whatever changes you want to make, you're going to want to go to Save, hit that Save button up there. When you're done and want to leave this page, you can click the X, and you can either exit to the front end or back to WordPress. Let me show you both. Let me exit to WordPress, and it's going to take us back where we were before, where we saw that Edit and Breakdance option the first time. We can also go up here and click this little arrow. It becomes an arrow if you hover, to go back to all the pages. And go back out here and show you what it looks like to exit to the front end. I'm saying don't save my changes because you don't want to save those. Now we're on the front of the site looking at what all of your visitors would be looking at. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and point out one more quick thing. You should have an admin toolbar at the top if you are logged in. And from here, you can also access Breakdance. So if you hover over, you can click Open Discipleship to go right back where we were and make changes in Breakdance on this page. Or we could navigate to another page and begin making changes to that page. Let's talk about this menu. The menu is also built using Breakdance. If you've used WordPress before, you may be unfamiliar with, or you may be familiar with how WordPress historically used menus and how you would update menus in years gone by. Some websites still use that. For us, to give us more design flexibility, we're using Breakdance for that menu. So if you've added a new page to your site and you want to add it to your menu, you're going to go to Breakdance and go to Edit or Open Site Header. All this stuff that appears on every page, that's your site header. So I can go in here, open site header. And this is a little tricky because it's white text, and because there's no background here, you really can't see it very well. But hopefully you can see a little bit. That's programs. So if I want to add something to the programs list, I can click on that. Here's that panel. It says programs at the top, and there's a drop-down column. I can click on that to see all of the links in that drop-down. There's a programs overview. There's infants and toddlers. There's pre-kindergarten. So each of those is both text and a link. Where does that go when people click on it? So we can change any of these columns and any of these headers to, any of these menus to link to whatever new pages we've developed by clicking on it in here. And then just like before, if we want to make changes that are, publish our changes, we'd click Save to add them. All right, a little out of order here, but I know you're gonna wonder how to change the background image on your home page. We've actually already sort of covered this before, but I wanna make sure we cover it really clearly here. So I'm gonna exit to front end. Let's go to the home page here. This site in particular has this lovely video, but let's say they wanted to change the video or make it a picture instead. I'm gonna go to edit, or go to Breakdance, open home. That's the page we're on right now. Again, this is kind of going backwards, so bear with me here, but I can click on this whole section. You see the word section at the top left. I'm gonna click on this whole section. And just like with that div earlier, we saw that kind of card that was called a div. Just like before, we have this background and there's a little dot beside it, which means it's been edited. I click on that background and there's the video, the link to that video. But we could also change it to a static image. There it is. All right, so if you want to change a background image wherever it appears, whether it's at the top of your site or a background like this, wherever they appear, you can change it right there. And that, in a nutshell, is Breakdance. It's how to make changes, add new content, remove content inside of Breakdance. If you have additional questions, we do have some help articles available to you. Also, Breakdance has a lot of, quite a library of their own videos. There are YouTube videos. You can use ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever AI tool you use to ask questions. So as a starting point for learning more, those are your best resources, but hopefully this at least gets you started.